Okay. Hello, everyone. Fingers crossed. We're now live on over on YouTube. We've had a few connectivity problems this morning, but now we're here. So I'm really excited this morning. We've got Blessing Epum joining us. She is the founder of the EduP Hangout, and this is an organization, a community that brings together educators and parents of young learners to really help build that homeschool connection. So I'm really excited that she's going to share her ideas with us today about how we can motivate our young learners through building those connections. So Blessing, thank you so much for coming along today.
Thank you, T. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for inviting me. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us.
Fantastic. Well, I'm going to be sharing Blessing's slides. She'll be telling me when to carry on. And over to you, Blessing.
Okay, thank you so much, T. Once again, I'm so happy to be here. Thank you so very much. And today we're going to be talking about synergizing with parents to motivate young learners. So the objective of this talk today is just for us to share ideas and to discuss about how educators and schools can collaborate with parents. You know, as a teacher of young learners, and I've worked with children for quite a number of years now, and currently I lead in my organization, supervising other teachers. I've had the privilege of working with very young learners and children who are between the ages of 3 to 11. So I'll just share some of my experiences and discuss. It's always very passionate when I talk to people about young learners, because that's where I find my passion, my joy, and they inspire me a lot. Thank you. Next, please. Okay, so in this slide, I have here Lucky Lucy and Poor Pete. So this is telling us a story about Lucky Lucy and Poor Pete. And these are two different children with two very different backgrounds. So Lucy, she's very fortunate to be raised by an educated mom, okay, who also is available to raise her up. While Poor Pete, now it doesn't mean that it's financially poor, but unfortunately, he doesn't have his parents so much available like Lucy. So the parents had to get a nanny for him, and this nanny isn't very fluent in speaking English. So the parents also instructed his nanny to ensure that she speaks English to him. But the nanny would only try to speak the little that she knows whenever she's with Pete. But Lucy is fortunate to have her parents and others surrounding her who speak very fluently. And we can see 20,000 there showing us that at the end of a particular year, it was noticed that Lucy has been able to gain so much words from her mom. Her mom is able to speak over 20,000 words to her in a day, whereas Poor Pete can only have 5,000 or even less spoken by the nanny. So at the end of their first year, it was seen that Lucy was able to communicate better than Pete, you know. So this brings us to parenting, talking about availability, talking about communication with our children. You know, like in my context, sometimes we have parents who are mostly busy, you know, and because of the economy, they try to meet up with the family demands. So you have both father and mother working to provide for their children. So it's common to see situations like this, and I'm sure it's not peculiar to this environment. This can be seen in so many other contexts where you have busy parents, working parents, and all of this. So let's move on to the next slide. And we are going to see something from Lev Vygotsky. Yes. I have lessons learned from Lev Vygotsky. Lev Vygotsky is a Russian psychologist, and he has worked extensively on child development, So I've learned a lot from him, and I'm sure if you have had a TEYL course or study or a program, you might have had something to learn from Lev Vygotsky. So according to Lev Vygotsky, okay, he says that adults in the society fosters children's cognitive development by engaging them in challenging and meaningful activities. Okay, so this simply means that children learn from adults. Children learn from adults. In his theory, he tries to explain to us how children can learn, and I've seen this happen. You see some children before they even get ready start into school have learned a lot because of what they have heard either from their parents or from family members or anyone around them. So it is very important how we convey information to children, how we relate with them, how we discuss with them. So at this stage, they can begin to even interpret our culture. Like in my context again, especially then, it's not really common nowadays because now everybody goes to watch cartoon, everybody is watching something, But I remember while growing up, we always have things like storytelling, where folk tales, where parents would gather their children in the evening, tell them stories, about villages, about their cultures and traditions. There was even this very common TV program then in Nigeria, Tales by Moonlight. I know so many parents then would take their children once it's that time to go watch that program because they learn things about the traditions of the country, about different moral lessons. So these things are very, very important. We need to create that time for our children. Another theory, another lesson learned from the theory of Vygotsky is it says that the adults, they show meaning, they should show meaning and attach objects and experiences to their relationship with the children. So when you are relating with children, it's always good to bring experiences to them, events. For example, you're attending a wedding ceremony with your child. That is an opportunity to explain to them about wedding ceremonies. Okay, traditional weddings, and um, we have white weddings, as the case may be. So it's an opportunity to explain things to them, to broaden their scope, their knowledge, and all of that. Okay, and even for the early years, I know.
Apologies, we seem to have lost Blessing. She was having significant connection issues before we started. Oh, she's back now, it seems. Fingers crossed. We'll just give her a second to reconnect. And
Thank you so much.
hey, Blessing, yep, absolutely no worries. I was
Yeah, so
quickly
sorry,
there
my
to jump
network is
in.
poor. Okay, thank you.
I think what you're saying there about kind of, talking to your children about everyday experiences and also kind of encouraging them to ask questions as well to help them better understand what's happening in the world around them is always good.
About some children that even before they come to school, you realize that they're able to count, they're able to identify some objects around them, they're able to identify shapes, they're able to identify colors. These are some things that we can do.
Oh, we've lost the connection there again. Not to worry. We'll be back on track in a minute. Yeah, as well, just whilst Blessing's connecting, I loved what she was saying about that importance of the family relationship. I think in some cases, parents can feel that it's the teacher's job to do everything, to teach, not just the subject, but also manners and everything that beyond subject knowledge. So I think, yeah, the more that we can help parents to see their role within children's education, the much better it will be for our learners, for the families, and hopefully it might make our job as teachers a little easier as well if we can get parents involved and on board. I love a little bit of Vygotsky and his zone of proximal development, I think that was. Should probably read more about it. Here comes Blessing. She's back. Hey, Blessing. Have we got you back?
Yeah,
Audio is
thank
just
you
flicking.
so much.
Yay. No worries.
Oh, mine. The network has been quite funny
Yeah.
today.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I'm familiar with the problems that the connectivity can often cause. So take your time, and whenever you're ready, carry
Mm.
on.
Okay, you're still trying to share the screen, right?
Well, the screen's sharing at the moment. I can still see the slides. I've still got the
Oh,
Vygotsky. Yep.
oh, okay. So maybe it's just my problem. All right. So I was talking about how parents should always try to be involved, with their children, get involved with their children, and this can start at a very early age, even before they start school. So we can have parents having counting activities with their children. They can have them count objects around the house, so they're already building their counting skills and are able to identify, recognize numbers even before they come to school. And even in literacy, you can have them identify objects. Maybe give the child a ball and let them know, the first sound, things like that before they even get to school. So we need to create that opportunity, as adults, build that relationship, because children are able to learn from their environment. They can learn socially from adults around them. So these are some of the lessons learned from Levitsky. And he also talks about the teachers scaffolding. So when you're teaching, you shouldn't just be spoon feeding the child. So as a teacher, you should be able to teach in a cooperative way, with the learners in such a way that you just, give them some support, give them an idea. So I do, you do, and they are able to become more independent by watching you and then trying out those activities themselves. Okay, so I go to the next slide, and here I have various strategies that have worked for me personally, for my various experiences in working with young learners and in working at various schools. So these tips will just guide us on how to foster home-school connection in raising young learners. The very first one I have here is regular communication. Regular communication is so important. So I always say you can't teach in isolation. So as a teacher, as a school, the parents need to know what is going on at every point in time. Like some schools, in my context, it's very common to see schools these days having WhatsApp platforms for their parents. So we have different classes in the school having their various class platforms. The reason why these platforms are set up is to ensure regular communication. So you can take pictures of the activities done in class that day and say, oh, we did this in class. And, parents are excited to see their children trying out things themselves. And you can also have assignments, projects, even tips, parenting tips, different things, just ensure that there is a regular communication. There should be no gap. Don't just parents standing alone and wondering what is my child even doing at school. So another point is, having parent seminars and workshops. This is very, very important. So many parents do not really know how to go about working with their children. Some honestly want to guide their children. Some honestly want to be involved, but they do not even know what to do. For example, talking about teaching young learners now, especially, we have the letter sounds. I still have some parents come to me and say, please, I don't know the letter sounds. Try the new, when you have new parents joining the school, because some might be used to letter names while growing up, or very young parents who just started having children and they are new to the school system and they're like, why letter? What is what's up? Because while growing up, people might time we're used to A for apple, B for kind of thing. But these days we don't teach A for apple anymore. So this is the reason why we need this regular seminars, these workshops and seminars, so that they begin to know some new techniques, some new methods that are introduced, in teaching the children in the classroom. Another one is parent-teacher partnership. Yeah, so as a classroom teacher, then what I usually do at the beginning of every term, for example, we are going to a new session by September. What I usually do, I take a week to observe the children who have just come into class, if it's going to be the first term. So I use that first week to do my observations. Then I ensure that weekend, I send messages to each parent privately, individually, to share with them my observations, to share with them the strength of the child and areas where I feel I need to concentrate more and work on. So they know about these things. You even realize that some will even tell you more. Maybe some things that you have not yet observed because they're just coming into your class. They will open up to you and share more things that will guide you in working with these children. So I do that on a termly basis. So for other terms, I just share with them, okay, this term we'll be learning this, that, and that. And I will tell them if they will be supporting with materials, with activities. Then I'll also ask them for their opinion. Is there any observation? Is there any area you want me to work in particular with your child this term? So I hear from them. Parent feedback is very, very important. So as a teacher, you need that collaboration with your parents. It's going to make your work easier. Some teachers feel, I don't want parent interference. I don't want them to teach me my job. But no, in my opinion and from my experiences, I don't think I've had to feel threatened by any parent. Once you're doing your job, it's going to even make your work more effective if you know how to communicate properly with the parents. Then volunteer opportunities for parents. For example, there was this program we had, there's this Teachers' Day that always happens in October. So in that particular school, we always allow parents come in to teach the children on that day. Wow. it was mind-blowing experience, the last one I encountered, because at the end of it, our parents came and were like, wow, thank you so much. I never knew this is what it means to teach. Wow, you're doing so well. Because they had to enter into the classroom. They volunteered, really. This wasn't forced. So we told them, if you would like to, it's Teachers' Day. If you would like to come in to take some things, you're free to. And a number of them came in. And it was a surprising experience for some of them. They were just wow. Like, how do you manage to teach from morning till the close of day? So, and a lot of them came to appreciate it because they even understood the children better, even their children. They were surprised to see them in the classroom setting. Some would say, how does my child manage to sit? Are you sure my child stays in class? So seeing them in the classroom, well behaved, paying attention, asking questions, relating with their peers, they're like, wow, I never knew my child would be like this. So having parents come in to volunteer, it's also a very, very good strategy to connect with the home. Then another one that is working for some schools and not really working for some other schools. I've had some schools who scrapped parent-teacher associations, but it still works for some school if it's properly managed. For some schools, they have the parent-teacher associations called the PTA. It's very good because they get to meet maybe once or twice termly, where the school management can discuss their plans with the parents, and parents are also free to send feedback to the school, not just to the teacher now, because sometimes the school also needs to know what the parents really want and areas for improvement. So that is also working, and it depends on your context. If you think it can work for your school, I think it also very gets the parents involved in the daily running of the school. Yes, so we also have collaborative problem solving. Now, we've had some cases, maybe bullying cases, maybe different cases in a school. Things go wrong sometimes, and it's very important that parents are carried along whenever there is a problem. We've seen schools that just take laws into their hands. A child does something wrong, and the next thing is to spank the child, and you feel you have solved the problem. No, that's not good enough. So if there has been an observation, maybe a child does something wrong or something happens to that child within the school premises, it's very important to call the parents, to inform them. Let the school be the first to inform the parents, not the child going home to report to the parents about the problem that happened in school. So this is very, very important. And for this, I would like to quickly add that teachers too need to be very mindful. In some school settings, the teacher is not allowed to communicate directly to the parents concerning a problem. So a teacher might need to pass that information to the line manager, supervisor, or the school head, who will now know how to appropriately send that information home. But it's very important to involve the parents in solving a problem. And here I have cultural sensitivity. Yes, in some schools we have bilingual children, or even not if they're not bilingual, like Nigeria, you have a father and a mother who are not really speaking the same language, who are not, they can be from a particular state, but have different cultural backgrounds. So we have to be very sensitive to various cultural backgrounds. We have to be very sensitive to our children and to their families. So if a child tells you, oh, in my family, my mom says I don't celebrate birthdays, I don't accept birthday gifts. Some can even be based on religion. We should just acknowledge that this is their culture or this is their religion, and just
We've lost Blessing again. But yeah, I mean, fantastic ideas from her here. One thing I think so important about regular communication, I think often we tend to get in touch with the parents when something goes wrong. Whereas if we've built this communication with them from the start and we've started off with the positives as well, it makes those difficult conversations a little easier. Um, Not to say that everything is perfect or that if you're in regular communication with the parents, there won't be any problems. But certainly, I think often in ELT, in my experience as an academic manager, I tended to be ringing parents when there were issues. Um, and, it sometimes felt like I wish I could start by saying something positive. I always tried to. Well, we've got Blessing coming back to finish chatting about cultural sensitivity. She's just connecting now, I think. Oh, no, we've lost. Oh, there she is. She's back. Are you with us, Blessing? I think she's here. Yeah, fantastic.
for the frequent breaks. So sorry, but I think I've just concluded the 7 points on the slide. So yeah, so these are some of the tips that have helped me in working with young learners from my various experiences with schools, with children and parents. So I'm open to questions now. And thank you so much, T, for having me here today. Thank you so much.
It's been a real pleasure. I mean, I think in the past we've always had people who are working within English language teaching, but with your experience of working within primary education, you've got a lot of ideas and a lot of tips to share that we can bring in to the English language classroom. So it's great.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Uh, I think one of the
Yeah.
things that you were saying before about the volunteer opportunities for parents, one thing that I've seen with young learners, sometimes the parents don't speak English. Obviously, I'm working here in Spain, so working with Spanish learners, teaching them English, and sometimes the parents do speak English very well, a little. Sometimes they say, I don't speak any English. And it can be really motivating to have those opportunities for the children to teach the parents. I think especially the very young learners, they find that really
Mhm.
motivating to go, I know more about this topic. I can teach my parents something. So that's always been fun in the past.
Exactly. Yes.
Mhm. Fantastic.
Exactly. That's another feedback I got from some parents.
Mhm.
That the children come back home and they start correcting them and teaching them, Mommy, you don't say apple, things like that. So you're very, very correct. Yeah. So the children can teach their parents and parents can also learn from their children.
Fantastic. And just as well, I would add, obviously Blessing mentioned about around point number 6, finding out what the policy is within your school. I think sometimes in language centers, perhaps those policies aren't so clear for the teachers. I think it's really important for schools to have some sort of induction process where they talk to the teachers about how to communicate with parents, who communicates with parents when, and what those processes are. I think it's really important for schools to have those in place from the start. Mhm.
Mhm. Yes. Yes. Very, very, yeah. From the start. Aware, very start. Exactly. Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, we haven't had any questions come in on the live stream, but if anybody's watching this on catch up, if you've got a question for Blessing, please feel free to drop it in the comments or post it in the Facebook group. Oh, it looks like we've just lost Blessing again. So we'll round up there. I know she had one more slide with oh, with a thank you. So it's been really wonderful to hear her ideas this morning, and a great opportunity for us to think within English language teaching how we can do more to build those relationships with parents. Oh, she's just come back in now. Have we got you there again, Blessing? I was just about wrapping up.
It's working.
So, so I'll also share a link to Blessing Epum's blog in the notes here. She's got some fantastic content there as well. So Blessing, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you so much. It's always a delight when I'm with you. See, thank you so much for even mentoring me over the years. I use a lot I learned from you. Now I have a reading club, an online reading club. It's free actually, for children all around Africa, you know, and most of what I've learned from you in organizing online classes on WhatsApp, on Zoom, is what I do now, you know. So it's always a day to be with you. And thank you for